Hey guys, just me checking in. So I wanted to touch base on a few things and give you some updates. I just finished a 17-mile walk today and kind of dripping sweat right now. Um, and funny thing about it though was weird. We I drove this walk in my car. The odometer says 17 miles. I walked the exact same route, maybe even a little longer because I went into a couple of stores and behind some other cars and in side streets. And my phone says it's 15 miles. So there's a 2 mile difference. So for you conspiracy theorists out there, one of two things is happening. Bill Gates's Apple company, their technology is not up to snuff. Well, the American Automakers Association is gouging our odometers, so we think we're getting better fuel mileage than we really are. So I'll leave it up to you guys to go take a look at that. But the other thing I found out today, if you heard my YouTube yesterday, I talked about getting a new pair of shoes that were kind of custom fit for me. I had never dealt with that before. I've always said that the one thing not to skimp on in life is a mattress because you spend so much time on a mattress and things like that. Forgive me for dripping sweat here. That if you're going to cut back on name brand ketchup, but don't cut back on a mattress. Well, after this morning's walk, I got to tell you, if you guys aren't getting the right shoes, you're missing out because I walked whether 15 or 17 miles, and I felt like I was walking on air. I got these shoes. I got them over here called Brooks Addiction 13s. I never heard of Brooks before in my lifetime. I don't know what Addiction 13 is, but I just walked, and I feel like I'm walking on air. And like I said, I spent years going to off-the-rack shops. I didn't know there was technology and different angles and different things. So like I said, I don't know if there's the company that helped me is this company called Flying Feet. They specialize in footwear. I don't know if there's one in every town or where you guys are hearing this at, but if you don't go invest the extra $20 to spend, 8, 10 hours a day in comfort, I missed the boat for years. Hopefully you won't. So there's a couple things. One of the nice things about doing this, though, too, is I have an email address. It's pttjourney2018 at Gmail. And I'm asking folks to email me things and ask questions as we go and as my subscriber list grows. Right now, nobody knows about any of it right now. This is just word of mouth, the few people I have on here, and I appreciate you guys listening. But I got an email today asking for my opinion on, I guess there's this evangelist in Louisiana that apparently needs or asked his people to donate $54 million so he can get a jet to do his ministry. And I was asked my opinion on that. And good God, I'm trying to bite my tongue and not use any foul language. But, my biggest pet peeve, you'll come to learn, is hypocrisy. And one of the reasons I have a disdain for why we sour on people is just that so many people are hypocritical. This clown, what a steaming pile of horse crap. This guy saying he needs $54 million so he can contact his ministry. And what makes me laugh, not only is the audacity to say that, right? But he goes on social media to try to drum up the money, and then his rationalization is, I need the jet to be able to travel to all the reaches of the world or to be able to go out and reach out and get these people. I'm sorry, don't they have social media? If you really want to reach out to them, let them go to an internet cafe somewhere. You can talk to them just like we are right now on FaceTime. So, the hypocrisy of it is such a joke. So I promise you, I'll meet more people and say more positive things in the next 6 months. And, hey, feel free to send me $54 million, folks, and I'm sure I'll put it to a lot better use with the children's hospitals and the Disabled Veterans Administration, things like that. But, wow. So, anyway, that's my comment on that. I'm trying to bite my tongue and so forth. But I also want to take a few minutes today, this afternoon, this evening, it is the afternoon, but this evening, I'm going to be, my son's got a baseball game, and it's one of the biggest joys for me. And as I was walking and thinking about it, I wanted to recognize something in some people, and hopefully you'll see yourselves in this a little bit. So one of the things that dawned on me, I might be the only dad I know, my son might be the only kid I know, that after each and every practice, he goes up to the coaches and thanks them for their time. And think about that for a minute, right? We hold the door open for somebody. We ask somebody if they'd like a drink when we get up from the couch. We do simple little things, and at least I do, and a lot of us expect a simple thank you or gratitude for that, right? These Little League coaches and volunteers of any sort across America volunteer 2 hours of their time to help, our kids. They do it because, yes, their kids on the team and they love it. But, how simple is it for us to go up to them and say thank you for doing what they do, right? If I gave 2 minutes of my time to somebody, I would, it's 2 minutes more than I needed to. These coaches are given 2 hours, 2, 3, 4 times a week to our children. And certainly on behalf of me and my son Landon, my daughter Grace and her high school coaches and things like that, to all the coaches out there, thank you so much for what you do. I really, honestly, you deserve a whole lot more credit and appreciation than you probably get. On that note, it got me to thinking. One of the things you'll learn about me is I have a very strange ability that I don't just remember things. I have an incredible memory, but I also relive the moment. And it got me to thinking that some of my happiest times was back in the day when I was playing Little League. And it dawned on me that the best coach I ever had on any level in any sport was actually my very first Little League coach. His name was Jim Doherty. His son played with me, Jim Doherty. We became great friends. Young Jimmy, right? We would sleep over. We'd have sleepovers at his house before the games, and it was some of the most special times that I remember. And it wasn't so much that I remember the game or the at-bat or the strikeouts. It was the camaraderie, and again, the fact that this kind of family made me feel like part of them. Jimmy, as it turned out, he went on the pitch in North Carolina and got drafted. He actually made it to the major leagues, played for the Astros for a few years. I think ended up at the Pirates. And I remember, because of my family situation, Jimmy and I played together from like 9 to 11. And the tragedy happened with my dad, and we had to move. And when you're 12, you don't have the capability of traveling back and forth, even if it's only a town 20 minutes away. So I went into a different little league, and he and I kind of broke up a little bit. And I followed him through the newspapers in high school and into college. And I remember when he got the call to the big leagues, or actually in his minor league system, I sent him a telegram just letting him know I was following him. And he came to the big leagues and played at Shea Stadium. And I remember it was so nice that I went out just to see him in the dugout. It was really neat. And he recognized me right away, told me to go ahead behind home plate. His parents were there with his wife, and I'd never met his wife. And one of the neatest things, again, Jimmy and I hadn't talked for, maybe 12, 13 years, maybe, I guess, at that point in time. And his wife looked at me and said, "Smitty, I've heard so much about you," which just blew me away that I don't even know why I'd come up in conversation. But and it was kind of neat. Years after, I was on a golf trip with the guys down in Nags Head, or Outer Banks, and Jimmy and his family had moved down to Nags Head, and I looked them up, and we played around the golf together. It was really neat. Again, I'm trying to be positive and talk about some nice things. So another nice thing is I'd been involved in a fantasy baseball league for a number of years, and one of the guys in the league, Walter Eberhard, every year he would go out of his way to find one of Jimmy's baseball cards and bring it up to me at the draft, and it was just a nice gesture. And I was able to share it with my son and tell him, I played ball with him, and so I'm getting a little emotional. I'm going to do a lot of that, guys. When I get emotional, but wait till I start talking about my kids. But anyway, some of the memories and some of the thanks. His dad was just simply a terrific coach, taught me a lot about the game, and taught me everything I knew about the game, really, at such a young age. And some of the things that are weird, I'll talk about music. Music's another big thing with me and a big part of it. But some of the memories I have back in this was the mid-'70s, late 70s, I guess. Couple of songs that were big were Copacabana by Barry Manilow and Paradise by the Dashboard Light by Meatloaf had come out. And I can remember in our sleepovers, we would stay up singing. I don't know why these two songs stick out at me, but we would be singing these songs. And if Jimmy ever hears about this, he'll probably be embarrassed to hell about it. So sorry about that, bro. And his mom, the other thing, too, was not only was there the games together, but, we'd practice. And in the summertime, I'd spend time at his house. And his mom was an avid fisher person. She was, she loved to go fishing. And she would take him and I on these party boats. We would go on a party boat at a bayshore called the Brenda Lee, and at a Captree State Park called the Jib. And it was funny because we would go on these charter boats, party boats, whatever you want to call them. And at the time, we'd probably pay $25 a piece to go for a 4 or 6 hour trip. And we'd usually go bottom fishing, fluke or flounder. But it was funny because Jimmy and I and his mom, we would catch, 5, 6, 8, 10 of these fish. And oftentimes more than most people on the boat, and you had all of these old folks that were old salts and knew what they were doing, and here are these 9 and 10-year-old kids pulling up 10 fish, and we used to get a big kick out of that. So anyway, there's a few memories of Little League, and guys, cherish Little League, cherish the coaches, appreciate what they do. If you happen to know Jim Doherty or his family, if they still live in Nags Head or anything like that, reach out and just tell them I said hello and I miss them. Some great memories. This was 40 years plus now going on, and yet I can still remember some of it like it was yesterday. So anyway, I'm going to sign off with that right now. Like I said, if the conspiracy theorists out there want to look into why my odometer says I did 17 miles and Apple says I did 15 miles, I'd love to know that conspiracy theory and see who's jacking me up. I have my phone in the background now. But that's about it, guys. So thanks for listening, and have a great day.